that sin or that bad deed will bring you big merit and bring you closer to Hashem. Okay? Hold that thought. Keep that till the end of the class, Be'ezat Hashem. You know, Abotai, Be'ezat Hashem, today, we're going to start the third gate of the 7 gates. So for the past month and a half, if I'm not mistaken, we've been doing gate by gate. The first gate is Levenet Safir. The second gate is Etzem HaShamayim. So today we finally reached the third gate. So what is the third gate? You heard of the third gate? Correct. So we finally got to the third gate, which is actually called Noga. Now in Abotai, like we mentioned in all the previous 2 gates, each gate has connected to it a key. What is the key to Noga? What is it? What Sephirah? It is the Sephirah of Netzach. Which, as we know, Netzach comes from what word? Victory, Nitzachon. That with the gate of Noga, a person can reach to a victory. So you know what? Why is that? So first of all, we need to understand that the gate of Noga is actually a gate of what? It's actually a gate of judgment. It is not a gate of necessarily kindness. It's a gate where life and death is dependent on that gate. If a person is written to stay alive, or Chas v'Shalom written to pass away, it goes through that gate. If a person is supposed to have Chas v'Shalom, amazing, out of ordinary miracle, it comes through that gate. If a person Chas v'Shalom is supposed to get even a hit, it comes through that gate. With that gate, essentially all the decisions goes through the gate of Noga. Now you know about that, like we mentioned in the previous shiur, that all gates don't necessarily need to have one opening. So actually, the Echal, the gate of Noga, the Zohar Kadosh in the Pardes Rimunim says has 4 doors. So Be'ezat Hashem, throughout the classes, we are going to go door by door and what is the significance of each door and what is the meaning of each door and what happens through each door. So today we're going to start with the first one. So in Abotai it said that the first gate, the first door in the gate of Noga, actually is in charge of what? It is in charge of Gezerot. What is Gezerot? Gezerot is judgments that come down to the world. In Abotai, when we hear the word judgment, a lot of the time we connect judgment to what? We connect judgment to be something negative. But actually, judgment is opportunity for what? Opportunity for victory. Why? Because if you think about what victory is, you can't have victory without going through a war. It's like 2 soldiers. When 2 soldiers fight, when there's 2 oppositions, you can come a victory. Someone can come victorious. That only comes a result of what? Of judgment. It's like Abotai, Elul, the month before Rosh Hashanah. Is it a month of kindness or a month of judgment? A month of complete judgment. But still, what are we doing? Hashem, give me parnasa for the year. Hashem, give me refuah for the year. Hashem, this year I want to be married. Hashem, I want this. Hashem, I want for the entire year. It's a month of judgment. Why are you asking? Because through the judgment, what can come? Big opportunity for victory, for big blessing. So that Abotai is actually the first door of the gate of Noga. Like we said, every single gate has a gate watcher. What is an angel that stands on the gate and actually is the one that's in charge of that door. So the first door, his name is Malchiel. That is his name, Malchiel. Where he needs to pass every single judgment, good or bad, meaning a judgment could be someone was judged to be the richest man in the world, and that paper needs to go through him. Or Chas v'Shalom, it could be that the person needs to get a little bit of a pinch, and that needs to go through him. Now, under Malchiel, there are 2 writers. What are writers? 2 people that write. Now, what is this concept of people that write? So now, a lot of people, they think that up there in Shamayim, it's like a big family, where if the father says, no, don't do this, or the father says, no, go to your room, that's it. Meaning if HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, this person needs to fall, automatically he falls. It's not like that. You know, the Zohar Kadosh says, like we mentioned in previous classes, if you want to know exactly how the kingdomship of Hashem works, very simple. Go to how the kingdomship in any country works. Now, when a king wants to change something or wants to bring a extra blessing or a punishment upon a person, what does he need to do? A pitka needs to be signed. A paper needs to be written, needs to be signed. And that paper is actually the judgment that gets pulled out. So the same thing happens in Shamayim. We're under the angel Malchiel. There are two angels, which they are authors, they are writers, and their names are Shamshiel and Kamuel, which they are writers. Now, where do they write on? What are they actually writing? So it says they actually write. About the first beginning of the show is going to be very little bit technical, so hold on to it. So they actually write from what? From the Aharon Demuchin. I'll explain. Don't worry. So what are they writing on? We mentioned, maybe the classes before Rosh Hashanah, that on the day of Rosh Hashanah, what happens? There are two writers that sit in front of the judge, and they're actually writing the judgment and writing the decision of the king, writing the decision of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What are they writing on? So actually, Zohar says that there are two like rooms in Beit Din, where from those two rooms, this is a little bit hard for our minds to grasp it. In those two rooms, there is, in one of them, a source of fire which is pure white. It is a complete white fire. And on the other room, the left room, it is a room, like a little place where there is exact essence of fire, but not white. What color? Black. Well, the Zohar Kadosh says that those two angels, one goes to the right, the white room, and one goes to the black room. And the angel takes the white fire, makes like a paper-like shape. And the one that goes to the room of the black fire takes the black fire, and he writes on top of the white fire. And that mixture, both of those fires are called what? A pitka, a judgment. So Abutai, every single judgment that comes down to the world needs to be written on a pitka. Those pitkaim are written by those two angels. Now, when they write this judgment, meaning now a person did a good deed, and now HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to bless him with big merit. So now the judgment comes out, and these two angels, they come and they start to write. Or Chas v'Shalom, if a person did a bad deed, and those angels also have to come and write a bad judgment. That piece of paper, before it's passed on, it goes to the hands of who? Of Malchiel. The Zohar Kadosh says that Malchiel actually has a big responsibility. What's his big responsibility? That his job is to take this paper that every single person has, if it's a paper of blessing or a paper of Chassidut punishment, and he needs to redirect it. Why redirect it? So we mentioned about that a few minutes ago, where these angels, where are they pulling and where are they actually extracting the judgment from, good or bad? They're extracting it from where? They're extracting it from the Aharon Demuchin. I'll explain. Aharon Demuchin. The angel Malchiel needs to take that judgment and redirect it from Aharon to Pnimiut Demuchin. Now, what is this Pnimiut Demuchin? What is Aharon Demuchin? What are these two aspects? So in order to understand this, we have to understand that every single thing in this world has, at minimum, two aspects. For example, even our body. In our body, we have body parts which are inside, interior body parts, and we have body parts which are exterior, like the ears, the hands, the legs. So some our organs are inside, and some organs are outside. So the same way that every single creation has a pnimiut, an inside, and a chitzoniut, an outside, also HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a pnimiut and a chitzoniut, an inside and an outside. But the difference is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, being HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even has an interior and an exterior in his muchin. What is muchin? Muchin is the conscience of Hashem. So the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu leads the world, that is we call what? Muchin, his thought. the way he judges, the way he directs, what he does in certain instances, how he reacts to certain instances. That is all done in the mochin. So there is an exterior and interior. Now, where can we see that both of these exterior, interior, what do they represent? So now, Botai, I'm trying to run because I actually trying to keep a short shiur this week. And not like all the other weeks where I say short shiur and it ends up being a very, very long shiur. So, it says in the Torah, Lo yireh et adam panai vechai. What does that mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu and told all Bnei Israel, there is no such thing in the world as a person, or even in general, a being, including angels, that can look into the face of Hashem and still survive, and still be alive. Where nothing in the world, nothing in existence can look at the face of Hashem. The Midrash and the Torah says that Moshe Rabbeinu and Adam HaRishon were the only two people that were able to look into the face of Hashem. But not the face of Hashem, but the back, which we call the Aharon, Achora, the back of Hashem. Where it says Moshe Rabbeinu and Adam HaRishon looked at the back of the tefillin of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now that is actually what we call Aharon. What did Moshe Rabbeinu and Adam HaRishon actually see when they looked to the back of Hashem's image? What were they able to see? They were able to tap in to Hashem's mochin, to Hashem's conscience. And by tapping into that conscience, they were able to see what? They were able to see the future of what happened in this world. Where it said that Moshe Rabbeinu and Adam HaRishon saw generation by generation, till the generation of Biat HaMashiach, where Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech saw every single outcome that could be. A lot of people ask, if they saw the future, then we have no freedom. So to just cover that question, if they saw the future, there's no freedom. So it's not that they saw what we were going to do because they knew what we were going to do, is they saw every single possible outcome that could be with every single person. Meaning now, I came to shul. If I came to shul now, I have another 10 options that I can do. If I take now this door, I have now an option where I can go to the right door or to the left door. So it's like a tree. So if we look at a tree, it has branches. One branch grows. From that branch, what happens? It splits to another 3. And each one of those 3 splits to another 3. And each one of those 3 splits to another 3. So that's actually what we mean when we say Hashem knows the future. It doesn't know what you're going to do and what you're going to choose. But He knows every single possible outcome, what could be. So Moshe Rabbeinu and Adam HaRishon were able to see and to tap in to the Achorin, the Mochin, the exterior of Mochin, of the thought of Hashem. We can see that in reality. Where it said that Adam HaRishon, when he went from generation to generation, what did he do? He saw that there would be a king named David, which would born and die in the same day. So what did Adam HaRishon do? He gave him 70 years of his life. How did he know that David would not survive? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him that nevuah, that prophecy of seeing every single generation. That's what Adam HaRishon. With Moshe Rabbeinu, the same thing. With Moshe Rabbeinu, we mentioned it. That what did Moshe Rabbeinu actually do? He brought down the neshama of who? Of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. That was a result of what? That was a result of a person looking and tapping into the mochin of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what does mochin of Achorin represent? It represents the exterior and it represents the future. Meaning it's past and future on an exterior level. Beseder? Now, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's thought, He also has pnimiyut. So what is pnimiyut? It's the inside of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now the inside of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also what we call the panim. So as we know, the word face and the word pnimi are the same letters. Panim and pnimi, meaning the internal and face, are the same letters. So the face of Hashem and the pnimiyut, the insides of Hashem, because it says if you want to know what goes to a person's heart, where do you look? Look at his face. If a person is sad, you see on his face. If If a person is upset, you'll see on his face. If a person is offended, you'll see on his face. The face is the opening to what happens in a person's heart. So inside a person's heart, there is hidden things. But there are hidden things that happen when? At that very moment. So the pnimiyut, the muchin, is actually what? It's the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu leads the world not on the exterior of the future or the exterior of the past, but the interior of that moment. Meaning what happens in a person's heart only at that moment. And that is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in a way, can lead the world. We can judge a person not upon what he's going to do, or what he did, or his acts in a day-to-day life, but what his intentions are inside his heart. Now, both of these leaderships, ways of leading of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, actually act in two different places. The angels, being that they cannot look into the face of Hashem, how do they judge in the name of Hashem? What's their only way of judging in the name of Hashem? They judge in what? External. Aharon. Why? Because they cannot allow it and they have no gisha, they have no access to the heart of Hashem, and they have no access into our own hearts. Meaning the angels don't know what we're thinking, what we're doing at any moment. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows. So how do the angels write judgment? They write judgment upon the exterior of Hashem. Meaning they can see the future, they can see the past, and upon that they judge. Where can we see that? Ishmael, where it says that when Ishmael was a young boy, he was in it with his mother and he was crying because Abraham sent him to the desert. And when the kid was crying and he said, I want water to drink, and his mother, Hagar, left him. Because it says in the Midrash that Hagar couldn't see her son Ishmael suffering. She did not want to imagine her son dying. So she completely left him and walked away. It said Ishmael was a younger boy and he was crying for water. He was thirsty, he was in the desert, and he was alone. It said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to come and actually to save Ishmael and to bring him water. What did the angels tell him? The angels said, Hashem, why are you saving Ishmael? If you save Ishmael, you know what he's going to do in the future. In the future, he's going to become a big Rasha. So it said, Rabotai, that the Zohar said, and the Mefarshim say, and also in the Midrash it's written, that the angels wanted to kill Ishmael. Even though he was an innocent tzaddik, the angels said, wait, this man's going to end up being a big Rasha. He's going to end up causing Bnei Yisrael to suffer. So let's completely get rid of him now that he's young. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu say? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, look, you're judging him for what he's going to be in the future. Also known as Aharon, the exterior of Hashem's conscience. But you can't punish a young boy that didn't sin yet. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu was looking into the pnimiyut, in the interior of Ishmael at that moment, which Ishmael was really a tzaddik, he was a pure boy. But the angel was saying, no, let's punish him for what he's capable of doing in the future. Because they were able to see what Ishmael is capable of doing down the line. And the same thing we see with the creation of the world. When the world was created, what did the angels come and tell Hashem? They said, Hashem, you're creating a world which you know will sin. Why create the world from the first place? Let the world perish and start something new. Base your creation on angels, base your creation on seraphim, ofanim, chayot HaKodesh. Why are you basing your world, why are you giving your Torah to a place where you know there was sin? So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu answer? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, did they sin yet? Right now, at this given moment, right now, are they pure or are they not pure? So the angel said, right now, at this given moment, they are pure. So if they are pure at that given moment, how can you punish them? So you see, Rabotai, there's actually two ways of judgment that could be. Exterior upon a person's deeds, now and in the future, where it could be a situation, Rabotai, listen to this is why it's even scary. There could be a possibility where a person could have a mazal to become very wealthy, and to grow, and to become rich, and to become a very powerful man. But the angels, if they get an opportunity to judge him, they're going to say, wait, if we're going to make him wealthy, there's a possibility that wealth will do what? Will cause him, chas v'shalom, to fall. So if that happens, we made it worse. So let's not make him rich. So a person could have a rich mazal and be poor. Or even worse, because there's a lot of young people, single people here. Those angels can say, look, if we send right now of this person, there's zivug at this right now, this given time, they're going to be young, they're still beautiful. And there's a possibility in the future that they can do what? Chas v'shalom, they could fall. And there could be a situation, Abotai, that a person is judged, not even where he is at that moment, but judged what can possibly be in the future. But that judgment is done only by what? By what's written by the angels. What's written by Kadosh Baruch Hu is written only what's existing at that given moment in the heart of a man. So, actually, what is happening here? Those two angels, Shamshiel and Kamuel, what are they doing? They are writing their judgment upon what? They write their pages of judgment that each person receives, and we know that every single day a person is judged. Every night when a person goes up to bed, his neshama goes up and he gets judged. So what's going to happen to you in the day to come is all written down. But they're writing their judgment upon what? Upon the exterior, what could happen. Why? Because that's the only place where they have gisha, where they have access to. What does the angel Machiel try to do? The angel Machiel tries to redirect that judgment. Where he tries to bring that judgment from a judgment of Aharon, exterior, to a judgment of pnimiut. Where he tries to fix that judgment and to get a person judged, not upon his deeds, what he did today, or what he did yesterday, what he could possibly do today, but where he is, what he thought, his intentions, his heart, his pain, his love, everything in that given moment, because only HaKadosh Baruch Hu can see that. If Malchiel is successful, you can all imagine what could be. A person will be judged to kindness, because he didn't mean to do bad. A person will receive big beracha. Whether or not there's a possibility that he can fall with receiving that beracha, that a person will be completely judged with the midot of rachamim. The pnimiut, the insides, is the attributes of kindness. Well, what is the first attribute of the 13 attributes of kindness? El, Rachum, Vechanun. That Hashem is kind and He forgets and He forgives and He's not tough upon His kids. That even if His kids, Chas v'shalom, do something wrong, He's going to forgive them. So one is judged by the interior, one is judged by the exterior. If he succeeds to transfer it from exterior to interior, we can know what beracha could be. That a person can be written, even if he didn't do good deeds, for big beracha, because Hashem sees the potential in his heart at that moment. Or chas v'shalom, if he's written by the angels, he'll be judged. Today, if he makes a lot of money, he can possibly sin with that money, so we're not going to give him that money. And today, if he meets his zivuk, maybe he can sin with his zivuk, so we're not going to give him his zivuk today. And they judge him even upon sin that he didn't even do yet. Something that is scary. So it says that the angel Machiel, when he's done with receiving his judgment, his paper, whether or not now he redirected it or not, that's already in the past at this point. He takes that pitka, that paper, and it says that he climbs down 2 stories. Where he goes down to the first gate of Levenet Safir, opens up the gate, leaves Levenet Safir, and it says walks on the first gate of impurity. Meaning he approaches to the garden of the impurity. Which, what is that, what is the name? That's the only name of impurity that we mentioned. What is the name of it? Bo. That first gate is called Bo. What does Bo mean, Rabbi Michael? Hole. And the Zohar says that he opens up a window inside that world of darkness, and he takes that paper and he hands it to the angel of San Gadiel. Where the angel San Gadiel takes that paper, and the Zohar says there is 1,000 angels of Kabbalah, 1,000 impure angels waiting, drooling to receive that piece of paper. Because the moment they receive that piece of paper, they know how much damage they can cause upon a person. That part is clear, Abotai? We all understand that part? Maybe there's any questions before we move on? Because I see that was a very heavy-duty Dvar Torah. Ken, take it. We don't usually do questions in the middle, but I think it's appropriate this time, this one, because it's a little bit, very, very heavy. Ken?
I was wondering, I've learned that life so that you'll get bracha on the other side.
We want to have a good life in this life and in the next life. No one's going to pray to have a hard life today. That's not our mission. That's not our goal. In these shurim is to find a way to live a better life, to use the tools from the Zohar Kadosh, to use the tools from our Torah to enhance our life. So we're not even going to pay attention to that side of ways of learning and teaching. Can Rabbi Marco?
This angel that manage those two angels for him, that manage those things for him, he take their comments, right?
Can.
And he make the mix, if I understand well, between the inside and the outside judgment.
He redirects the judgment.
Okay, but then instead of bringing it to Hashem and stamp it, why does he bring it down to the pit?
Because when we say judgment, pitka, a paper is always given to the evil side. Even Rosh Hashanah, we said this in the shul before Rosh Hashanah. Because the bottom line, the bracha is not going to come, the bracha comes automatically from those gates. But now the question is, how much, if there is damage, can the evil side do or take?
Are you allowed to do or not to do?
Exactly. So that is that pitka, that is that paper.
So he has the same power in the darkness and in the higher, and then what they do after? They deal with it?
If a person is written Chas v'Shalom is going to, if a person says Chas v'Shalom where the person is going to trip, so they go and they make him trip. They put their leg and they make them trip. Ken Tzaddik.
What determines whether that angel is successful or not in redirecting it? And is there something we could do?
Do I ever give a shiur and not say how? Do I ever give a shiur and not say how to do?
Well, because I had a follow-up question, but...
Okay, so what's your... We'll wait till the end of the shiur. Ken Tzaddik. One last question and we're going to stop.
Noga? What is Noga?
Noga, the truth is, I've never even seen it. It's not even written in the translation. It's just the name that's written. Illumination. It says that the gate of Naga is higher and more kadosh than the two previous gates.
Is that for Klipa? No.
Exactly. There is also a klipa which is named Naga. Exactly. The Naga is a gate of judgment, essentially. So that's it. Now we're going to stop with the questions and we're going to move on. So Abotai, now we know how judgment is brought down to the world for good and for what? And for bad. Now the question is, Abotai, is how can we always cause and how can we always bring fate to our side, to our favor, where we will always be judged rightfully? Or, if not, how can we bring ourselves to the point where instead of even going through the judgment of the angels, we go straight to forgiveness and straight to receiving the beracha and straight to a place where we're not necessarily being the one that's the victim, not the victim, the one that's hurting. How do we say it? The one that's doing the bad thing. No, the one that's hitting, the one that's the bad avera.
The villain?
Ma?
Aggressor?
The one that's doing the wrong deed, the one that's doing the bad thing.
The bad guy.
The bad person, the bad guy, exactly. So how can we bring ourselves always from leaving that point of being the bad person, being the person that actually needs to be judged, but actually being the person that Hashem loves and the person that Hashem actually completely forgives?
I got it. So
in order to understand this, Rabotai, we need to understand how actually forgiveness comes down to the world. So you know, Rabotai, there are two things that always come together. Judgment and forgiveness. What comes before what? Judgment or forgiveness? What comes before what? Judgment. Why? Because how can I forgive without knowing what I'm forgiving? So before forgiveness, what must come? Judgment. Where do we see that in a realistic point? Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Well, what comes before what? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah, 10 days after Rosh Hashanah, we have Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment, where we are judged for all our deeds. Yom Kippur is a day of what? Of forgiveness, where we are forgiven for all what we are judged for. But how can a person be forgiven for something that he wasn't necessarily even judged from the first place? So the first step is judgment. After judgment, there's an opportunity for forgiveness, like a king. If you want to come to a king, say, Hashem, my king, forgive this and this person for this and this sin. What's the first thing he's going to say? Was he judged? Was he even written to be a person that did a sin in the first place? So the order of being forgiven in the order of being HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessing a person for his good deeds and putting aside his bad deeds are what? Are first being judged. After we are judged, only then can we be forgiven. And that is an order that cannot change. But no one can change it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any, it's not even something that we can argue about. The only way forgiveness could come upon a person is if he is judged beforehand. But now about that, the question is why is it that we give up the judgment to Hashem, or even to an angel, or even to another person? Why do we put ourselves in the position where we need to be judged by someone else, by a third party from the first place? Why do we even give the opportunity that an angel that's going to come and is going to judge us unfavorably, any room to judge us milekatchila, to judge us from the beginning? Why can't we, as individuals, step in before the judgment even comes to a reality and judge ourselves? Because the moment that a person is judged by himself, by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, by an angel, in that moment he can skip straight to what? To forgiveness. Why do we wait until to give somebody else that handle that opportunity to judge us whether or not we did something right, whether or not we did something wrong, whether or not he's going to judge us on the future, or whether he's going to judge us upon right now? Because if a person sits down and does cheshbon and judges himself on the deed that he did in that day, judgment was already made. And the moment judgment is already made, there is no opportunity and no right for anyone to come in and to judge a second time. And that's what Arizal says, and that's what Rabbi Ishmael Bar Yochai says in the Zohar Kadosh. Where every single person, before he goes to sleep, what should he do? He should judge himself. Meaning he should sit down and write all the good that a person did, all the bad that he did, where he wants to be, what he failed at doing in that day. Because the moment that he's already judged even by himself, that's it. The concept of judgment is no longer applicable. Why is that? Because judgment, if one judges himself or somebody judging one, is the first step for healing anything. Not just necessarily a sin, a mitzvah. It could be anything in our life, Rabotai. That if a person doesn't sit down and doesn't ladgish and doesn't give acknowledge his wrongdoings, how can you repair them? How can HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive? How can a person be forgiven for the wrongdoings that in his eyes don't even exist? The first step of healing, whether if it's in the Torah and mitzvot, whether if it's if a person is depressed, whether if it's if a person drinks too much, whether if it's a person that is maybe falls with a specific sin, if a person is a little bit upset all the time. We have some people that they have an attribute of kas, of anger, or some people that when they get sad they go into a low point, or even like we said, people that are addicted to whatever it is it could be. The first step of healing is acknowledging the wrongdoing. Only after a person acknowledges his wrongdoing, only after that, there is an opportunity to repair. Because now, you know what to repair. And the problem is that a lot of the time, we get so used to our mistakes and we get so used to our wrongdoings that a lot of the times we don't even recognize that what we are doing is what? Is wrong. That sometimes it becomes so easy, it becomes as such an ergel, like a habit, where that habit becomes not even something that is wrong from the first place. So how can you heal? How can you stop something that in your eyes doesn't even necessarily exist? So what by not judging ourselves and by not giving Lakir, no, lakir is not knowledge. Recognition. By not giving recognition to our wrongdoings, the person that drinks too much says, I don't drink too much. I drink average. I drink fine. Or a person that is finding himself that he's depressed, I'm not sad. He doesn't even know that he's sad. He doesn't even know that he's becoming depressed. Or a person that Chas v'Shalom has anger. When you ask him, why are you screaming? I'm not screaming. I'm not upset. Because even himself, he's blind to his own wrongdoings. So how can a person like that be forgiven? How can a person like that heal something that to his eyes doesn't exist? It's non-existent. But the first step, Abotai, of healing is what? Is recognition. When a person sits down and does cheshbon nefesh, where he does a calculation of all the wrongdoing that he did, and the moment that he sees that what he did was wrong, only then he opened up a door for healing. That is what Abotai, someone told me one time. There was a man that I knew that he had a problem. Lately I've been seeing a lot of stories about gambling, unfortunately. But there was a person that I knew very well, where he had an addiction to gambling, unfortunately. Where he would work and all that parasha, all that bacha that he had, he would waste it all where? He would go to a place where they do gambling and he would waste it all one night, one day, like that. So what did he do? He went to a place where actually it's called like Lagmil. Gmila. Gmila is like a place of rehabilitation, where a person can heal himself from an addiction. So I started to be very funny at the time, but this morning when I was thinking about it, I said it makes perfect sense. So he always told me, what's the first thing that they make you say when a person wants to get rid of an addiction? Hello, my name is, I don't want to say his name, because if he's going to see this shiur, he's going to know it's him. My name is whatever, David, and I am addicted to gambling. The first thing that he does, before any time he enters into this place of healing himself from whatever wrong thing he's used to, is what? Is recognizing that what he did was what?
Wrong.
It was something that was wrong. That recognizing one's wrongdoing is the first step and the most crucial step from healing it. And it's not just that recognizing it is the first step of healing it, and it's the first step of not, if you already skipped judgment, where you judge yourself, so you leave no room for someone else to come in to judge you. Because unfortunately that's what we tend to do. We wait for someone else to judge us. When someone else judges us, it already becomes a different punishment, a different reaction, and we get embarrassed, and it becomes already a completely different thing. So actually, when one sits down and he writes all his wrongdoing, and he recognizes and he announces what I did, this and this and this was wrong, what does he cause? He causes himself where he is less likely to do what? He's less likely to repeat it. Because if you know what yesterday you wrote down to be as a bad deed, automatically, you going and repeating that bad act becomes much smaller. Where our problem, Abotai, is from the beginning, not even being able to do it or not being able to hold ourselves back from sinning or doing something which is wrong. It's recognizing that what we did was wrong from the first place. Because just the fact that one recognizes, he's already more than halfway finished. Because the next day, when the next day is going to come, he's going to remember that what he wrote yesterday was to being wrong, he's going to automatically, what? Avoid it. Because he's going to say, that's what I did yesterday, I recognize there being something wrong. So actually, Abotai, the trick of healing is what? Is recognizing the problem and one knowing what's the problem. So it's like Abotai when a person is sick. How do you know what medicine to give a person that is sick? According to what? To what? Sickness he has. But in order to know what sickness he has, what do you have to do? You have to go to somebody that he comes and he judges you. He says, okay, according to this symptom and according to this and according to how your neck looks, you have this and this and this. And then you can take that statement to the pharmacy, to Rabbi Aharon. You say, no, Rabbi Aharon, I have this and this sickness. I need this and this and this medicine. So in everything, Abotai, the beginning of healing is what? recognizing the wrongdoing, recognizing the mistake. When a person writes that down, automatically what happens to him is already halfway in the reparation, halfway in the judgment, and already into a place of forgiveness. But you know, Botai, why is it so important out of all things? Like we mentioned, this could be applicable with anything in life. If a person recognizes that he's sad, and he knows that he's sad, he's already going to start naturally working on fixing it. Or like we said, if a person's upset and he knows that he has an anger problem, he's already automatically going to start fixing it. But why is it so important? Specifically with Torah and mitzvot, or specifically with wrongdoings in regard to the Torah, that one recognizes every single day what he did which was wrong. Why is it so important? Why is it so crucial where a person does self-judgment, where he assesses himself and judges himself every single day for all the wrongdoing that he did against HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Why is it so important? So now, Botai, what makes it so important is the fact where one writes and remembers and acknowledges his wrongdoings against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he already takes that sin or that bad deed that he did, and he completely changes its state from one corner to the other. Why is that? If a person gets up and he does a sin, how will HaKadosh Baruch Hu judge him? He will judge him as what? As a man that did a sin. So if you did this sin, we don't know how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is accounting. You did this sin, he's going to give you this and this and this to repair that sin. But what happens to a person that in the end of the day he sits down and says, you know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, today I did this and I screamed at my friend and I was bad at business and I offended somebody and I had an opportunity to save somebody and I ended up only hurting him. And you write all these things down. A person essentially takes that sin out of begader shel avera and he puts it begeder shel what? Shetinok shenishba. So what does that mean in translation? If a person is able to recognize his wrongdoings and to put them down in a list, automatically those wrongdoings are not considered to be anymore a sin to go against Hashem. Where there are two types of sins. There is one person that sins, which it is a sin in Hashem. You told me I'm not allowed to do it, I'm going to do it purposely. Or Hashem, I know what this is asur, and I'm going to get up and sin. Where a person gets punished like that with pure judgment. Because you know something was asur, and you went and sinned. You're going to get hit by it. It's like a kid. Where he goes to the kitchen, he takes a glass cup, and his parents know, don't throw the glass cup on the floor. And he comes and he goes, and he takes and he throws it in front of the parents. What are the parents going to do? They're going to come, they're going to scream at him, they're going to hit him, they're going to say, what did you do? But what happens to a person when he recognizes and he acknowledges the sins that he did? Automatically, those sins are not anymore sins against Hashem, but they become a young boy, a kid, that fell in the hands of his evil inclination. That it's no longer someone that's fighting against Hashem, but somebody that fought a war and unfortunately lost. Somebody that went and he tripped and he fell. Where Hashem, I recognize that this was a wrongdoing, and I know that I was not supposed to, but I didn't win this war, Hashem. I fell to the hands of Yetzer Hara. That this wrongdoing was not purposely to go against your will. At that moment, that a person already judged himself, what does Hashem do? He says, don't worry, my son. It was not chas v'shalom, something that bad, I'm going to forgive you. Like what analogy? Like that same kid that took the cup and dropped it. But where he was walking and he tripped and he fell, and he didn't break one cup, he broke what? The entire shelf. The entire shelf fell on the floor. Are the parents going to punish him? No. They're going to say, look, he was walking, he was trying, he tripped, he fell. I can't be upset at my son when he falls. I can't have judgment, I can't have anger on someone that fell without his control. Would he want to fall from the first place? No. Because the fact that he acknowledged that there was something that was wrong, clearly, it was not in his will, his free will, to get up and to do it. That automatically, when a person recognizes and even puts down on paper the sin that he did, in that very moment, judgment is no longer applicable. Where Hashem takes his situation to what? From his act straight to what? To complete forgiveness. Where Hashem judges a person where? Pnimiut, the inside, what is inside a person's heart, his intentions that he has, the way that he did the sin, he didn't mean to do the sin, and not the exterior, the way it looks on the outside. That, Rabotai, is actually the amazing act when one sits down and he observes his life, and he observes his deeds, and he puts everything into consideration, and he makes a judgment upon what he did throughout the day, good or bad. That the only way where a person can reach to big success is knowing where he succeeded and knowing where he fell. It's like a business. Every single business, in the end of the day, what do? They count how much money they made, where they lost money, where they made money, and according to that, they could find themselves doing better choices. That is exactly what a person needs to do every single day before he goes to bed. Because when a person sits down and recognizes, Hashem, I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this, in that moment, Hashem's only going to have one attribute for you: complete kindness and forgiveness. Because judgment was already made. And that, Abutai, is the power of when one brings upon himself self-judgment and he assesses his good deeds or his bad deeds. And like we mentioned, Abutai, this is applicable on every single thing in a person's life. From the way a person acts, to a person's Parasha, to a way a person's Shalom Bayit, assessing the good and the bad is the first step for success. Now, you know, Abutai, to even take it a step further, to go back to what we were saying in the beginning, of how can a person actually take the sins that we all thought of today and turn them to be the cause for big brach. You know, Abutai, when a person, at the end of the day, sits down and he starts to write all what he did wrong, that person completely put himself into a place of tzaddikim. And I'll tell you why. You know, Abutai, or even higher than tzaddikim. One Rosh Hashanah, 2 years ago, a young boy came to me. He said, you know, Rabbi Moshe, Rosh Hashanah is coming, the day of judgment. And I really want this year to enter Rosh Hashanah clean. I want to know that Bezat Hashem, I have no wrongdoings under my sleeves, inside my pockets. So I said, okay, what do you want to know? So he said, last night, I sat down, I took a piece of paper, and I wrote on this piece of paper all the bad that I did and all the sins that I did to Hashem in that entire year. And I have this piece of paper, and I want to sit down with you, and I want you to read the piece of paper and tell me what to do to repair every single sin. And you know, but when I heard this, I almost started to cry. He said, this man is a complete tzaddik. What an emunah a person like that needs to have, to the point where he recognizes that he did something wrong and he wants to repair it. Where he doesn't want to, chas v'shalom, be the person that's failing, be the person that's doing something wrong. So everybody looked at him, mamash, I had tears in my eyes. I said, even tzaddikim, even me as a Rab, I don't know if I have that strength to do something like that. I said, you are a complete tzaddik. I told him, keep that piece of paper in your pocket. Don't show it to anyone, not to me even. I don't want to see it. But you are a tzaddik. And I am sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not only not punish you for all these bad deeds, but He will bless you even for every single wrongdoing that you wrote on that paper. And what is the concept of it? When one sits down and he recognizes, I say, Hashem, I did this wrong, and I did this wrong, and I did this wrong. Essentially what he's doing is he's taking his connection that he has with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and making it so much stronger. where him and Hashem are like two friends or like two partners, that every single deed that he does, he's reporting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Where he takes his connection and he brings it to a higher level that even through prayer and even through limud, that person can reach to that level. Where his imunah and his connection become inseparable. Because he's mamash with his whole heart, with his whole soul, connected with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person like that, every single sin that he did is actually causing what? Is actually causing him to be stronger between him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Or maybe we can say that every single step that was made in the path of the wrongdoing becomes what? Becomes, Abotai, a step closer in your Avodat Hashem. Because even the fact that you did a wrong step, that wrong step came with a stronger bond between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That every step that you walked towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the next day, tomorrow, you're going to stop where you left off yesterday. Where actually, the level that you will reach up there in Shamayim will be including the steps you did. You're bad, and including the steps that you did that were good. Because even the bad steps, you did them with what? You did them with complete imunah. You did them with complete faith that you said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I know what I'm doing is wrong, and I fell with what I'm doing, and I pray that you forgive me for this wrongdoing. And that is why, Abotai, maybe we can say that b'makom sheba'alei teshuvah omdim, afilu tzadikim gumarim omdim. That a place where ba'alei teshuvah stand, even complete tzadikim cannot stand that place. Because the Baal Teshuvah has something that the tzaddik doesn't have. He has those steps of towards the impurity, but those steps that became a bonding with HaKadosh Baruch Hu towards the Kedusha. Where it is a level that even a complete tzaddik can't reach that level because he doesn't have those steps of impurity. Or like what it says in Gemara, the person that does teshuvah from love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and not from fear, every single sin turns into what? Turns into complete merit. Because even in the sin, what follows is a strengthening in the emunah, and what follows is actually a stronger connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that Abotai is created by one thing. It is created when a person recognizes his good and recognizes his bad. If he's able to overcome his bad or to strengthen his good the next day, it doesn't matter anymore. Because the moment a person recognizes all what he did throughout the day, at that point and forward, the only thing that can follow is what? Is complete kindness and complete rachamim, is complete forgiveness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu's perspective. And that is why, Rabotai, I would really want every single one here, Rabotai, to take a moment, if it's once a week, if it's once, we do it once a year at least, but to do it once a week, even once a day, wherever could, and to really put into consideration, say, Hashem, this I didn't do right, and malasot, I fell. If a person is able to do that, Rabotai, he will reach to high levels in his success in this world with his Parasha, and high levels of success up there in Shamayim. Where the place where he can get to is a place where even complete tzaddikim cannot reach to that level. And that is caused with what, Abotai? With self-judgment. So to go back to our teaching, Abotai, if we want always, every single judgment that comes down to us to be a positive judgment, and to be a judgment of bracha, and to be a judgment of forgiveness, and to be a judgment of kindness, what must we do? We must always evaluate ourselves, know where we are, know what we're doing good, and know what we're doing bad. That self-evaluation will bring us very far in our life and in our success. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'ezrat Hashem open up the eyes, our eyes, to always to be able to see what we are doing right and to build upon that, and also to give us the strength to be able to admit with what we're doing wrong and to change our path. Amen. And only Nagata Botai B'ezrat Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us this entire world, and B'ezrat Hashem give us the entire world to come. Amen. Rabotai, questions? Can I be out?
So, based on what the introduction that you gave, it's still possible that the angels who are judging you based
There was
on
no
your-
introduction this week.
Okay.
I went straight to the shiur.
Okay, so based on the initial 20 minutes of the Hashir, what you said about the angels only being able to see the back of the Aharon and being able to judge
exactly.
based on. So it's possible that someone might be judged based on their future actions, whether
Exactly.
it's bad or good.
Exactly. It's possible that a person could be judged of what can possibly happen in the future, and we don't want that.
Right.
We want always Hashem to look into our heart and to judge us with what's in our heart. That is why when we always walk in a path of emunah, and pashtut, of simplicity, being simple. You know, the previous generations, they reached heights because they were simple. And because they were simple, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't judge them with what they did in their life, whether or not they were able to keep 100% Torah mitzvot or not, but judge them with what their intentions were. So yes, it's possible that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can judge a person what will be in the future. So if we judge ourselves and we evaluate ourselves for all our wrongdoings, we're automatically judged for blessing and for kindness. Ken Sadiq.
Okay, two questions. One is, first, do you have to write it or can you think it?
You know, I believe that everything that you write, you're not just writing on a piece of paper, it's like you are engraving it in your mind. The moment you write something on paper, you'll never forget. If you think about something, the odds of you forgetting it are very, 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 very high. But the moment you wrote something, even if you wrote it and you put it in your pocket and you really lost the paper, it will be engraved in your mind forever. So the fact that you have the audacity and you have that gasut, it's like echum gasut. It's like the chutzpah and the strength to write down all your wrongdoings. I promise you, the next day, the chances of you repeating it are very low.
Okay, so the next question is,
Or even if they're not low, subconsciously you're going to be working to getting to a better place. And you will naturally become the best version of yourself.
Okay, so you said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at the inside,
Nachon.
and the angel is looking at the inside and is...
Because the angel's looking at the outside.
The angel's looking at but he's, the two scribes are looking at the outside and looking on the outside. But
Exactly.
the angel is actually diverting, right? Based on the inside or outside?
Malchiel is trying to change the direction.
To divert.
Exactly.
Right.
Trying to give that judgment more in the hands of Hashem.
But by looking on the inside or the outside? So my point in saying on the inside or the outside is that if you have in your heart the intention, you're always going to be judged on your intention, or you're going to be judged on what's
What do
on
you
the
mean by
outside?
intention?
By what's in your heart.
If you don't have bad intentions,
Yeah.
and really you know what you're doing, is because unfortunately you're not at that place, you're not at that level, but you have good intentions, you'll be judged by your intentions.
Okay.
If you're doing everything upon your act, you'll be judged by your act.
Got it.
It's very simple. If you have bad intentions, Hashem Yirachem, you're going to be judged also with bad. But we say b'derech she'adam. We say in the path where a person walks, Hashem walks with him. B'derech she'adam olech molichim oto. If you're walking in the path of act, they'll judge you in the direction of act. If you're walking in the path of intention where you really want to do good, and you're recognizing in your bad, but you're not able to do good, they will judge you upon that. Now it's not just that. It's b'derech she'adam moded. Modedim lo. What does that mean? The way you do your accounting, in that same very way, they will do the same accounting with you. So yes, if your intention is right, they will act with you upon your intention, and not upon necessarily your act.
Got it.
So it's a real shi'ur, not for the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim don't have any part with this. It's a real shi'ur for all of us, simple people, Baruch Hashem. Ken tzaddik.
If there's a judgment that's
I mean,
based
Mechila, everyone's tzaddikim. Maybe I'm the simple person, everyone's tzaddik. I'm not going to put that stamp on everyone. Ken tzaddik.
if there's a judgment that's based off something that you might do in the future, and that judgment, like for instance, Parasha, the judgment probably like you're not supposed to get Parasha because in the future the Parasha you might do negative things with it. So is that judgment then trying to protect you from doing something bad?
Why should you be judged? So look, there's a big difference of Hashem doing something to avoid something bad from happening to you in the future, where that's actually kindness, meaning you are a person that Hashem is judged for to fall and Hashem hurt himself. Okay? So Hashem knows that that's what's going to happen because that's what happens to happen. So Hashem comes and says, okay, instead of that happening, let's drop his phone, and his phone will break, and that will be instead of him. So that is actually kindness. But why would you want to be judged upon there's a possibility of you doing something bad? You know what it's like doing? It's like acting with every single person in a negative way. I'm not going to let you do this because you can do this. So it's like I tell you now, you know, Rabbi Avraham, I don't want you to buy a phone. Why? Because if you buy a phone, there's an opportunity for you to do bad with that phone. But that's not my way of looking at things. I'm going to say, no, Rabbi Aharon, buy the phone because there's an opportunity of you doing good with it. And if your intentions are clean, you're going to always end up doing good. So you understand? So you don't want Hashem to judge you upon an opportunity of you falling. So if your intentions are clean, hopefully Hashem will bless you and you'll always do the right decisions. Can't take it.
How can we gain knowledge of the same knowledge that the angels have of all our possibilities of our actions?
Look into your life. Sit down, write everything you do from the beginning of your day to the end of your day, and you'll know exactly all that what you're doing good, what you're doing wrong, and
The repercussions.
the repercussions. Very simple. מיכאל, אין לכם שום שאלה?
יש.
מה השאלה, מיכאל?
So עשינו את השיעור. Okay, we did the first gate.
כן. That you're giving a punishment that don't even belong to me. So Rabbi Pinto says Hashem will never punish a person for his previous Gilgul until he doesn't repeat that sin. So if you can recognize what you did in this Gilgul, you also know what to repair in the previous one, if you're getting hit so much from the previous one. That's it? Ken. Well, look, it depends on, there's two different bikoret. In Hebrew we say bikoret bona, bikoret bona and bikoret oreset. There is, echon bikoret? Judgment, which it builds, and a judgment which destroys. So if a person is now going to make a judgment which destroys, or he's going to say, I did this and I did something wrong, wow, I'm never able to do teshuvah, that's a bikoret oreset. Bikoret bona is, okay, I did these things, I failed today, let's see if I can overcome them tomorrow. So judging yourself harshly and being tough with yourself and choking yourself and being not able to breathe anymore, which a lot of people do, it's not a good thing to do. You understand? Zero? To go back to your question, Michael, because I think that's a very important thing to know. You need to understand that the source of each gate by gate, is completely dependent on one or the other. And the more you think about it, the more you'll put that into context. Like we said, what is the cause of the sin of the Berit, or for the woman's Niyut? What is the cause? It's complete sadness, it's complete darkness, it's complete lust of the moment. It's we gave 2.5 hours just about speaking about both of these. If a person cannot overcome that, how will he be grateful and how will he assess his wrongdoings? It's each one, if you're able to fix one, you're able to fix the second. And that's what the Zohar says. The first gate, Leven Tzapir, is the hardest. But once you pass Leven Tzapir, the rest become easy. The rest become very, very easy. And also you have to understand that a lot of the times, what we're considered to be passing is not what other people consider to be passing. What does that mean? It means for one person, for him to be grateful, it's for him to be grateful on the smallest thing, and that's for him passing. And another person to be grateful is for him to be grateful on the biggest thing. So I give you an example. For one person passing grateful, he's a millionaire and everything in the world. For him to be grateful is not that hard. Meaning it's very easy. He just needs to see the fact that he has a big house and the other one has a big house and he's already grateful. He already passed that gate. But for another person to be grateful, it needs to be grateful on the smack that Hashem gave him. So it's two different levels for two different people. But the same thing happens for the Brit. As a Rav, passing the gate of the Brit is different from a regular person. You still have to pass. But it's different. As a person that's married that has kids, his sin, his passing is different than a person that's single. So each one, his level is different, and each one must be passed in order to reach the next step. Make sense? Or you're not very satisfied?
I'm very satisfied, not very happy.
No, I love everything. Okay, Rabotai, any questions? Zero, no more questions. I try to run it. So next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to continue with the Gate of Naga. And Be'ezrat Hashem, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us a big netzach. What is netzach? Nitzachon. A big victory in all what we would do. And actually, Rabotai, what day is it today in Halacha? What night are we? Tuesday. What day are we today in Halacha? Netzach, which today is Tiferet, was Tiferet in the day. The moment the sun comes down, it becomes Netzach. So in the merit of Netzach, whereas the Zohar says we have to litbonen, you have to connect yourself with the Sefirah of the day. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us all a big victory in all our lives. Amen.
Guys, one more thing with your permission, Rav. I know Deborah